Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, he appears to have gone a bit crazy this week, renaming his company to Meta and then going on a strange rant about how we're all going to be living in our computers through virtual reality. So sit back and have a look at your creepy new future. This is the Metaverse.
Imagine you put on your glasses or headset and you're instantly in your home space. It has parts of your physical home recreated virtually, it has things that are only possible virtually, and it has an incredibly inspiring view of whatever you find most beautiful.
Hey, are you coming?
Yeah, just gotta find something to wear. All right, perfect. Oh, hey, Mark. Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
Mark. What's up, Mark?
It was only a matter of time before one of these tech billionaires decided to build their own matrix. But am I the only one who dislikes the idea of the world Mark wants? I get that in a pandemic, it is useful to have these extra channels of communication when FaceTime is limited. But the degree of virtual immersion he is proposing surely cannot be good for the generation of young people who have been left riddled with mental health issues and anxiety from his products. Whenever these flashy new platforms are launched, you have to remember one thing. Zuckerberg profits immensely from people being glued to their screens. Zuckerberg profits from human interactions occurring on his platforms as opposed to in reality. Now, I quite like reality, and I don't understand why Facebook, which is under fire for shady and opaque business practices, needs to build a new one. So, James Morrow, I'm keen to get your thoughts on this. Will you be joining the Metaverse? Will you be ditching the outside world, putting on your Facebook glasses and leaving it all behind?
No, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't call it the Ministry of Love. This thing is so Orwellian, what they're talking about here. You make a really good point, I think, in your editorial on this, that this whole thing is about the tech world profiting from our being in front of screens, you know, and that's been a big thing that's happened throughout the course of this pandemic. They have essentially encouraged and lobbied businesses, or lobbied governments rather, to keep us at home and in front of their screens. And in fact, we see in San Francisco, heart of the Silicon Valley establishment, we say they've now actually made going outside so unpleasant that all you want to do is live in a virtual world. We should be very, very, very careful about this because, frankly, I think that Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and all of these guys have screwed up the real world so badly that the last thing we want to do is then go have to play in their virtual slums.
Well said, James. Caleb, James makes a really good point. It's monetizing people. So we've got to be really careful when we create this really immersive platform because we know what's been happening to young girls, particularly on Instagram. They were warned about it, and it just seems like all of their statements about how they care about people aside, they're trying to get people plugged in a semi-permanent capacity to a virtual world.
Yeah, it's all rubbish. I mean, you look at that video that we saw just then, and it seems to me like the most bizarre stuff you'd have in the midst of sleep paralysis. But if you hear Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg saying that they're trying to be virtuous, just remember that the creation of Facebook by Zuckerberg and some of his mates at Harvard back in 2004 was so they could rate whether the female students at Harvard were hot or not. That's what Facebook was created for. And then when they expanded it a bit further, it was so they could work out who people at Harvard were shagging. You know, there is absolutely no virtue in what Facebook does. And for them to claim that, oh, we're trying to make the world better, we all know that ain't the case. They want more customers, more people hooked on their stuff, and they're more than happy to do it at the expense of the health and mental health of their users.